Greetings to you. This is Michelle Strickland, and I'm coming to you today with my daily theology lesson. It's my lesson that I do. I meditate, I record it, and release it because maybe somebody out there can get something out of it. I focus on the three major religions. I read those texts at least twice a week. I hit the Bible, the Quran, and I have an introductory book that I'm reading that it's called The Shape of Suffering. And so that's a Buddhist text. So I'm for cultural diversity. You know, I don't have all the answers. These are my study lessons because I want to become a better person. We're dealing with The Shape of Suffering. That's the rotation we're on today, the Buddhist text. But before I get into that, I want to take a moment of silence out for all of those who are suffering and conflicts all over this world. Choose love and peace, not war. Choose love and peace, not war. I'm only going to read a little bit out of this Buddhist text because it's a little bit different type of a read. So I'm only going to read a little bit of it at a time. But I'm reading each text chapter by chapter, word for word, every word. So the other text might take me years to get all the way through because I'm reading every single chapter and I'm recording it, and I'm going to release every single chapter word for word in all of those texts that I just mentioned, good, bad, or ugly. And I'm not going to censor anything. Now, in the Buddhist text right now, we're dealing with dependent co-arising, and a lot of it, I'm not going to go all the way through it, but I'm going to just give you a brief explanation. But it just talks about when you overthink and you constantly rehearsing. Sometimes that could be a bad thing and put us in a bad place if we're rehearsing information or trying to figure out stuff that's going to make us, be in a negative mindset. Not that negative thinking doesn't happen, it does, but some things we don't have to overthink about, But just look it up. Because dependent co-arising begins with unstable causes, any happiness produced by the causal process will have to be unstable and constant and unreliable. This is the downside of dependent co-arising. The Buddha conveyed this point by likening the causal process to the act of eating. Effects feed off their causes. Inner being is inter-eating. Although we may think that suffering inherent in feeding is primarily felt by those forced into the role of food, the Buddha points out that it's also stressful for those who need to feed. Their continued survival is uncertain, requiring that they continually look for new sources of food. And that's deep, okay? That's really deep. But I'm going to keep going. I'm just going to leave it for what it's saying right now. But feeding, people can feed off of your energy too, okay? Not just food, eating food, but I'm going to keep going. However, the instability of dependent co-arising has its upside as well. To put an end to an effect, you simply have to put an end to its cause. This means that the suffering caused by the system can be ended. The Buddhist solution to the problem of suffering was not to accept suffering as an inevitable part of life. I don't. When I see people start acting negative and stuff around me, I gotta go. I'm not gonna give them much attention because I don't want that in my life. I choose to not be that way because I don't want to live like that. They could be mad at me all day long. If you dysfunctional and you all you about is confusion and frustration, bye. I don't have to deal with that. And I don't want it around my family because we're not like that. You don't have to live like that. That's a choice. You're going to have some disagreements sometimes. Yeah, sure. But every day and all this constant, but no, I don't live like that. I have people that tries to, pull at me to be that way, but I refuse to live my life like that. That's why I don't hardly be around people. I'm very selective who I'm going to be around. As soon as people show their backside and it's not good, later. To put an end to an effect, you simply have to put an end to its causes. That means the suffering caused by the system can be ended. The Buddhist solution to the problem of suffering was not to accept suffering as an inevitable part of life. It was to find the causes of suffering and bring them to a total cessation so that the suffering could be brought to a total cessation as well. Later, bad people. Later. And don't let people tell you something like, you should, when you just meeting people, you should have known how, or you've been around people and you didn't know that they were deviant and you just finding out. Don't let other people make you feel bad because you didn't catch on to their deviance. Don't give people, because people can fool you for a long time and then the monster pops out. So don't ever let people, if you're in a situation that's not good and you trying to figure out how to get away from it, and you talk to people, watch who you talk to too, because everybody don't have your best interests at heart. And they try to make you feel bad because you were around somebody that was a rascal, a no good scoundrel, and you just now figuring out, or you tolerated it for so long and you just decide you ain't gonna put up with it anymore. Don't let people make you feel bad for that. That's just an underhanded way for them to try to dig at you to make you feel low. The causal system follows a pattern. It is possible to point to a cause for each factor in dependent co-arising, and the particular relationship between each cause and effect holds true over time. It is not dependent on the vagaries of time, culture, or place. Unlike some thinkers who state that each moment is so radically new that lessons learned from the past obscure it, the Buddha saw that knowledge of dependent co-arising can fruitfully be applied to every moment of suffering. Thus, dependent co-arising provides a precise body of knowledge that can be applied to the problem of suffering in all times and places. So that's good. I'm going to leave it right there. So, yeah, we need to learn from the past, but learn from it. We can't go back and don't, whether it's good or bad, try to learn from it. And if, a lot of times different situations have happened all through life, all through the ages. And if it's documented and we can figure out a way to how to try to navigate around it, there's nothing wrong with that. We can't always. Sometimes we got to go through stuff to figure it out. But never allow people to make you feel guilty because you want to change or become better, or you've caught on to their dysfunction, or somebody else's dysfunction, and you just now catching on to it. Maybe you were naive. Maybe you just wanted to put up with it because for whatever the reason, and you decide you don't want to do it anymore. Don't let anybody exterior from you make you feel guilty because you want to become better and you don't want to put up with nonsense anymore. Remember to smile this day anyway and reach out to one person at a time, one person at a time, one person at a time, okay?